Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Wristre Wednesdays. As you know, my name is Brandon and I am the host of Wristre Wednesdays. Thank you for joining us this week. I wanted to talk about a very important topic, 3 things that will hurt the value of your watch and hurt the resale value of your timepiece. So this video is more geared to the person who may be new to the pre-owned timepiece world. If you're familiar with the pre-owned timepiece world, you've probably heard these things once or twice before. You're very familiar with them. Hopefully you can pick up a new tip. If you plan on keeping your watch for generations to come, I love it. Don't worry about it. Do whatever you like with your timepiece. This is for the guy who may not know a few things about the pre-owned timepiece industry, as well as they plan on selling their watch in the future, maybe trade up or down, or maybe just in the future they know they're probably going to sell it due to their personal tendencies. With that being said, guys, let's jump right into it with the first thing being the actual box and papers of the timepiece. So if you're familiar with the pre-owned watch world, like I said, you definitely know this question, but does the watch have box and papers? That question is always tossed around in a sale, and it's very important, to be honest with you. I don't think the box is as important as the original papers that the watch came with personally. You can always buy a box, whether that be on the internet or if that's going to be from a dealer. You can buy a box that the watch was originally sold into, and that's completely okay. But what you really need is you want the papers that the watch was sold with. It completes the sale, it proves the authenticity, and people love seeing papers with a watch. So it's not something completely naked. It's less hard to fake, you know what I mean? So it's like selling a house without the deed of the house. So box and papers is definitely an important thing. Don't misplace the papers if you buy a timepiece. Don't file the papers, just keep them with the box if you have it. Put it in a safe place. I like to put all mine in like a nice, I have like a closet, like a locked closet that I use, and I just put everything that I have in there with the original box as well as the papers. I don't move anything, I don't touch anything, so everything is where it needs to be, and it's nice and organized. So make sure to keep that how it is, guys, and just keep all those things together. The papers definitely hurt the resale value if you don't have it. If you have 2 watches and they're in exact same condition and the only difference is one watch has papers and one does not have papers, I can guarantee you that the watch with papers will sell better. And with that being said too, it's not an issue buying a watch without papers. Just make sure you're paying the proper price and you're evaluating the watch correctly for not having papers, and that you're not overpaying for like the same price if the watch did have papers, and you'll be completely okay. So for the second thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is probably as common as the question of box and papers, is has the watch been polished? So a lot of people have like some vendetta against polishing your timepieces, and to me personally, it's a very to each their own type of question and whatever you prefer, but there does come to a point where it starts to devalue your timepiece. So with that being said, more specifically, 100% specifically in the pre-owned timepiece market than the new timepiece market, because new watches aren't going to be getting polished yet, right? So if the watch is maybe a year old or a couple years old, they're probably the exception to this conversation. But with that being said, if it's a 20 or 30-year-old timepiece, you damn sure that watch has probably been polished at least once or twice. It's very rare to find a watch that has never been polished before. And polishing your watch is completely okay. The issue with polishing comes when the watch begins to get over polished. So if the watch has been polished 6, 7, 8 times and it's visibly noticeable that the watch has been polished so many times, such as the materials on the case and the bracelet are getting worn down and they're mixing together, or the actual corners on the timepiece itself are completely rounded, that's when the watch starts devaluing because of polishing. So if the watch is getting polished every 4, 5, 6 years, there's absolutely no issue with that at all. But if you're getting your watch polished every time you get a new scratch on there, maybe twice a year, once a year, then after a certain period of time, the watch is definitely going to look over polished, and that will hurt the resale value of your timepiece. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about today, guys, and this is probably the least recognized out of like factors that could hurt the resale of your watch, is going to be knowing the actual service history of the timepiece itself. And it's something very simple. And I like to make the car analogy to this because it's very similar to the watch servicing, but most people actually understand the car analogy and they're familiar with it themselves. So if you were shopping for a pre-owned car and the seller had no idea when the last time the brakes were changed, the oil was changed, the battery was changed, or the recommended service that you have to do every few years to make sure the car is running properly happen, your first instinct or reaction to that sale is you're going to be trying to work the guy or the lady down on the price a little bit, right? Because as far as you know, you're probably going to have to incur some of those costs and assume those. So with that being said, no watch is different than a car sale in that regard. So if the car has a complete service history, you know that it just got X, Y, Z, everything done recently, then you feel much more at ease paying with the list price that they're asking for, because you know that you're not going to have to actually get these things done in the near future. So the same thing goes for watches. If you don't know when the service of the history was done on the watch, don't worry about it. Bring it down to the watchmaker, have them check it out for you, take a picture of it on the time graph so you know what time the watch is keeping, and that you can at least show that when you're selling the watch itself. And I guarantee you, more times than not, that's going to help your resale value versus hurt your resale value, because it's not a complete unknown factor in the sale itself. So with that being said, guys, those are 3 things to be cognitive of that can and will hurt the resale value of your timepiece. So remember, keep track of those papers. Do not lose them. Watch the polishing on your watch. It's not all that necessary, but it's completely up to you. Just make sure the watch doesn't start to get over polished, as well as just stay up to date with the service history and be in the know about it, and you'll be good to go. So guys, I'll see you on Sunday for the Coalition newsletter. If not, I'll see you right back here next Wednesday for Wristre Wednesday. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you later.